90% of the time, my personal experience, anecdotal, but my personal experience, is the woman with all the power in the relationship. You know why that is? Because she's got the poo nanny. She got the poo nanny, and he want it, and he don't want to deal with it. He's in a marriage. He can't
I'm
go
not
out.
looking at you right now.
You know what's up, girl? Hey guys, we are back with another video. We are Meet the Simmons, giving their PSA.
Please like and subscribe. It really assists us with the algorithm. We love and appreciate you. And also, please share on your social media outlets.
So dramatic. Anyway, so today we're going to do 10 ways that you are sabotaging your marriage. Hold on to your butts, people. Hold on to your butts.
To your butts?
Yeah, it's from Jurassic Park, Samuel L. Jackson. You don't know about that.
Don't be rude. Being rude should be number one.
Well, maybe. So, number one. Number one, arrested development.
Yes.
So, by definition, arrested development is when, it's a psychological term, is when a person experiences trauma or something that happens, usually in their childhood, they stop developing right there at that point. So you could be 30 years old and acting like a 10-year-old.
Happens all the time.
You would be surprised how quickly you will see an adult go into child state. Like when they get triggered, they go into child state. Crying uncontrollably, throwing fits. I mean, really, temper tantrums. We've seen it firsthand in counseling as coaching. It's the weirdest thing in the world, but it happens. They revert back to that childlike state. So when you're married and you have arrested development, when you get triggered by your partner, you go into a childlike state. That's when you get people throwing things, yelling, slamming doors. That's all the things children do. It's really, and it's so common in our culture that we think that's normal. We think that's normal for people to do that in a marriage or relationship. It's not. It really isn't.
Not in a healthy one. No.
Two adults should be able to sit down and talk out a problem. But you see this happen all the time. So when you have arrested development in your marriage, you're gonna struggle. If one or sometimes both partners have arrested development. So you got two adult-sized toddlers running around the house mad about something.
And you see couples that are stuck in these really bad cycles where like they have these blow-ups, they make up, and everything's good. Then they go back around. It's like they're that arrested development piece.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very bad. Another one that we want to talk about.
I'm so sick of hearing this.
For my fellow Christians, my church-going, Bible-thumping Christians. Amen. Praise the Lord, Christians. So Gary Chapman is a famous author. He wrote the book called The 5 Love Languages. Great book.
Great book.
Love it. We use it all the time. We've
done it ourselves.
We know our love languages.
Right.
But a lot of times, and you don't necessarily have to be a Christian to read this book. It's a great book. You can get out of it. It's a great book. But what happens a lot of times is that people will use their love language to manipulate their spouse.
Yes.
So for you guys that don't know what the 5 love languages are, basically they are the way a person receives love, the way they express their love, the way they like to receive love.
Right.
And they are what, babe? Read them for us.
Okay, so it is words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, physical touch, and quality time.
Yes. So what people will do in a marriage or a serious relationship, they will use that love language. Like let's say your love language is quality time. Well, let's say her love language is quality time, and I want to go out with the boys that night. You're not spending quality time with me. See, you're not. My love language is quality time, and you know it's quality time. But I just spent the whole day with you. But no, I need quality time with you. So you're using your love language to manipulate your spouse. Gifts, that's a big one.
Oh yeah, if yours is gifts, you straight up try to get some all the time.
Yeah, so they always use it. They're using these love languages. It's designed to help your partner understand how to show you love. It's not designed for you to use it like a hammer to beat them over the head with. And a lot of times people
and then
do
trap
that.
them into doing what you want.
Exactly, it's a form of manipulation, and I see it all the time with couples.
A lot.
And it is so crazy to me. And they'll use that as a weapon against them and beat them over the head with it. So That is number 2. What's number 3?
Oh, hooked on the victim story. I call these people victimishas.
And Victor.
And
Victor
and Victimisha. So you've met them. It's the spouse that always have a story. Something happens and it's almost like you hear the violins in the background. And so I do everything in the relationship. If I didn't pay the bills, if I didn't make sure everything was done, then we would be living in squalor because I'm the one that does everything and I'm so sick of it. And he's like my 5th child. And I'm just so tired and I'm just so over it. And I mean, it's playing, okay.
Yeah. And dudes be like, yeah, man, you know, I go out here and I work hard for my family. You know, all I want to do is come home and drink a beer and put my feet up. But she wants me to do all this stuff when I get home. You know, and it's so disrespectful. And I talk to my friends, they ain't got to do all this stuff. And that's just I do. Just stop it. Stop the cap, bro. Stop the cap. You can't. You got to do your part at home. What happens also with the victim is that don't let the other partner had done something in the past.
It's even worse.
Yeah, so that...
Well, because if I don't go through his phone because he did cheat on me, and if I don't
15 years ago.
Yeah, if I don't go through his phone to make sure, because every now and again, you know, he could relapse at any moment. So it's horrible. You don't get anywhere with that. It's not productive. You don't move forward. You're stuck at that story. So so you have to ask yourself the question, do I enjoy telling the story or do I want to be whole and heal? So which one is it? You want to tell the story or you want to actually move forward? So. And
that actually brings us to our next thing that is sabotaging your marriage, unforgiveness. Mm-hmm. So unforgiveness comes in many forms. Most people, when they think of forgiving, they think of like infidelity or something like that. But really, unforgiveness, it can come in so many different forms. Like maybe I had an argument and he said he called you out of your name. Maybe he called you fat, or he called you something, or she said you was a no good whatever. Now you hold it over their head forever.
No good whatever.
Yeah. Tell something about your mama, and your mama ugly too. You know,
whoa.
and you just hold it over their head forever. You never get through it. You never press past it. It's always that. And soon as something happens, it comes up. Well, you remember when you did this, and it's like a trump card. Mm-hmm. It's a trump card, and especially if there was like infidelity or something like that, it's now that's another weapon against you because now there's shame. Mm-hmm. Because he or she already feels bad for what they did, but when you supposedly forgive, if you stay, you forgive. That's what we tell couples all the time. If you choose to stay after infidelity, you choose to forgive. The two are synonymous. You cannot separate one. Mm-hmm. You can't stay and make their life a living, you know what. But if you're going to stay, that means you choose to forgive. And that doesn't mean you get to pull out of your back pocket to get your way. And that's what happens a lot. A lot. Way more than it should. The next one is wrong counsel. Mm. I bring that one up to the forefront because there's so many people who talk to the wrong people. Let me tell you something, ladies. That woman on your job that don't have a man or is divorced, is bitter, has 4 cats and 3 dogs. Oh. That she sends a Christmas card out every year to you guys with their paw print on it. That's not the person to go to for marriage advice. That's not the one. Your single best friend who goes out every weekend and gets drunk at the bar and takes a different guy home every weekend. That's not the person to go to for your marriage issues. You don't need to be hanging around her, period, first of all. That's not the person to go to. Fellas, your boy that got 10 girls and he's spending it once, that's not the guy to go to when you have marriage problems. So many marriages are sabotaged by wrong counsel. And those very same people that you're going to for counsel, when you get divorced, they were trying to get with your wife or your husband. It's the truth. Seen it. And so be careful who you go to. Preferably you'll find somebody that doesn't know you guys. Yeah. You want to come to somebody like us or somebody at your church or something like that that you can talk to and be open with about what's going on. And preferably have your spouse there so y'all can talk about it and get it. If it's something small, okay, yeah, you can talk to your mom, your dad, or your sister, but be careful. Just be very careful because you're uncovering your spouse. When you tell somebody outside of your family, outside of your immediate family, what's going on with you and your spouse, you are uncovered. You got to be careful that person is trusted and they're trustworthy. Because if they're not trustworthy, if their marriage is a wreck and they're not happy, or they've never been married, or they're in a relationship, that's not the person to go to. Check their credentials. You would never go to a doctor that got his degree off the back of a matchbook. So why would you go to somebody who knows nothing about your situation to help you? Next point. Another way you're sabotaging your marriage is with your disrespectfulness. People it's just me, or people just disrespectful. Like within a marriage, there's a certain amount of respect that your spouse should have, and when you're disrespectful to, especially to men, I'm gonna tell you, I would rather you respect me than love me any day of the week. Men need to be respected. A man should not sit in a home where he is being disrespected because there's nothing there for him. That's the way we see it. That's how deep it is for us.
Yeah.
That's how deep it is for us. Ladies, if you're disrespecting your husband, when I say disrespect, I mean talking about him behind his back, calling him names, hitting him, because a lot of y'all got a problem hitting. Y'all think men don't have pain receptors. Don't be hitting. Hands to ourselves.
Yes.
Call him out his name, belittling him, emasculating him.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Yeah, men are physically stronger, but y'all with this thing right here, that is a loaded gun. If you are disrespecting your husband on a regular basis, every time you get mad, every time you do something that you don't like, then you need to check yourself, because it's only a matter of time before he walks away. It's only a matter of time. Men don't put up with that kind of stuff. And if he does put up with it, best believe he is looking for the exit. And if he ain't looking for the exit, then you ain't really attracted to him no way, because he definitely doesn't respect himself. And if your husband doesn't command respect from you, then you need to help him do that. So go.
And to the fellas, if you calling her out of her name, talking about how much weight she done gained, carrying your big head kids. I'm sorry, I hate when that happens. Like, look, my body just got all stretched. Carry your kids. Don't do that. Talking about her poor choices or her lack of ambition or whatever the things you're saying that's putting her down and belittling her. You need to stop that too, because disrespect is I don't know.
There's a way to say anything.
There is.
There's a way to say anything. So it may be a valid point, but you gotta ask yourself, does it need to be said? Is it helpful? Is it gonna get us down the road? Is it something that's gonna build my spouse up? And
hold each other accountable. If you are the person that's receiving disrespect from your spouse, hold them accountable. Hey, babe, I don't really like how you kind of talking. Let's let's calm down. Let's take a breath and let's reconvene in about 5 minutes or so. But right now, I'm not liking where this is going.
And that's what you gotta do.
Shut it down.
Hey, can you rephrase that?
Yeah.
That's like letting you know I didn't like it.
So that's rubbing me the wrong way. And I really would like to handle this peacefully. So let's go ahead and let's try that again.
Next one.
Oh, goodness.
Selfishness. Selfishness is a quick way to sabotage your marriage.
I think it kind of goes hand in hand with disrespect too.
I think it does. Because the truth about it is that what we always say, it's not about you. When you get married, it's not about you anymore. You should have got that out of the way in your teens and 20s. If you got married in your mid 20s or late 20s, you should have got all this stuff. You had time to be selfish. Because guess what? It ain't about you no more. It ain't about you. And if you think it is, then you being selfish.
Because normally, like, if you're being disrespectful to someone, let's say I have a bad habit of cussing you out.
Woo.
Yeah, I just cuss you out. I get mad and I cuss you out. I call you all kind of stuff. And, you say, hey, I don't like that. And why do you have to say that? Why do you have to cuss me out? Why do you have to call me names? Well, the only reason I do it is because I'm being selfish. The only reason I'm justifying it with my selfishness. So you have to really be careful with that. No, deal with the selfishness. Let's go to the root of it. Why you are a selfish individual. And let's talk about why you're being selfish right now.
And if you always expect your spouse to serve you and to make you feel good, but you never reciprocate, marriage is about reciprocity, guys. It's about reciprocity. I can't expect my wife to cook me a hot meal every day when she works just like I do. So that means I need to reciprocate that. Conversely, I can't always be the one to initiate sex. Mm-hmm. It can't just be, oh well, if I don't initiate, we ain't having sex. That mean that's not. It doesn't do it. I don't feel wanted that way.
Right.
Everything in marriage is about reciprocity. Mm-hmm. When you have the reciprocity mindset, you want to serve each other. It's not about just one person being served. I saw something the other day where this lady was talking about that I want my man to worship the ground I walk on. First of all, worship is only for God himself. I'm not worshiping nothing up in here. I love her, I respect her, all those things, but I do not worship my wife, and she should not want me to worship her. So next to the last one, number 9, is bad conflict resolution skills. I think that's number 8. Anyway, bad conflict resolution skills. Like we said, if you around here slamming doors and yelling and screaming, you got bad conflict resolution skills.
Or every time y'all argue, you leave, you grab your keys and roll out. I'm out.
Yeah.
Where are you going, first of all?
Yeah, if you squealing tires and getting out the driveway, if that's your thing, then you have bad conflict resolution skills. Because conflict is going to happen in the marriage. It's part of being married. It's part of being a human being. You're going to have conflict at some point, whether it be on your job and certainly in your marriage. You're going to have some conflict. It's going to happen. And so if you can't sit down, calm yourself to the point where you can have a conversation about what's bothering you, about what the other person did, then you're going to sabotage your marriage, because that kind of stuff doesn't fly. What happens a lot of times in marriage is you have one partner who will acquiesce. They'll just say, hey, whatever you want, just don't get mad. That partner gets tired of that crap. They get tired. Either they go inward, which means they're going to shut you down emotionally, they're not going to deal with you, or they're going to go outward. They're going to find some peace somewhere else. Then you're going to be mad. But you cannot continue to act that way without, you got to learn how to breathe through and talk. It's not even that hard, guys. It really isn't. But if you, like we said before, if you're selfish people have bad conflict resolution skills. I've noticed that.
And even those that struggle with arrested development also have bad conflict resolution skills.
Yep. The next one is one of my personal favorites. It's one that I see a lot. And I love to deal with people who do this in their marriage, because it's always fun.
I know what you're talking about.
Unbalanced power dynamic.
You love to disarm them. And
I love to do that because they're bullies. And I love to beat up bullies. I did it when I was a kid, and now I do it verbally with adults. I don't like bullies.
I did it when I was a kid. Yeah, you used to square up a lot.
I don't like bullies. And I don't like when I have a couple that comes in and there's a clear, unbalanced power dynamic. What do I mean by that? That means that one partner has all the power, they got all the chips, they got all the monopoly money, they got the car, the boot, the skate, they got all of it. They own Park Place, they got the whole monopoly board. A lot of monopoly analogies. We love a monopoly, but they got all the properties, and then
they got Boardwalk and Park Place.
Yeah, and then they give their spouse one little square.
But they gonna get the little brown.
They
properties.
Get the little brown ones. It's like $10 for rent, And that's what
they got the utilities. They got all of it, like the railroads.
And I love it because I get to take it all back. I get to take it and redistribute it, because that's the way it should be. You should not have an unbalanced power dynamic, because it's not right. Somebody's not getting their needs met, and it's only a matter of time before your marriage is in the ditch. But you know what? The truth of the matter is this. I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking most of the time it's the men with all the power. No. 90% of the time, my personal experience, anecdotal, but my personal experience, is the woman with all the power in the relationship. You know why that is? Because she's got the poo nanny. She got the poo nanny, and he want it, and he don't want to deal with it. He's in a marriage. He can't
I'm
go
not
out.
looking at you right now.
You know what's up, girl? He can't go outside to get it. He wants it. She knows he wants it, so she wills it. That's wrong. Or he messed up somewhere down the road, and he gave her all the chips to get back into her good graces. And she's like, ooh, I kind of like this. Whatever I want, I get. I'm not giving this up. I forgive you, but I'm not giving it up. Unbalanced power dynamic is a form of abuse. Point blank period. Ladies, gentlemen, if you have an unbalanced power dynamic where your spouse has no power in a relationship or very little of it, it is a form of abuse.
Yeah, it's an emotional abuse.
Yes. People don't see it that way.
It is.
But it is a form of abuse because your spouse is being harmed by the way that you're treating them. It's serious. You're an abuser. And for all you ladies out there that like to get in front of folks and just flaunt how much power you have with your husband, well, congratulations. You're an abuser. And you should feel real horrible about yourself, but you probably won't. Because everybody's gonna get there and they're gonna sign off on it. Because you're not physically hitting the person or harming them physically, but emotionally you are tearing them apart. This shoulder right here has been wet with tears from men because of this very thing right now.
And if there's children in the relationship, shame on you, because although you may not even do it in front of the children, children are very wise, they are very intelligent, and they pick up on the tension. So if you're doing it and you have children, then they're also feeding off of this horrible dynamic that's happening in the home.
And they even use the kids.
A lot of times
They use the kids to balance the equation.
Yeah.
They use the kids to make sure that they keep the power. Well, if you leave me, you're not gonna be able to see your kids. Or I can't believe you if you don't do this, then the kids are gonna suffer. And they use the kids as a bargaining chip, as a form of manipulation. It's abuse, and I'm gonna call it what it is. Lack of trust. Why don't you take this one? Because early in our marriage, trust was a big thing, and it was one of us that didn't trust the other.
And I'm glad you trust me now.
Excuse me, say what? You know who it is. You know what it is. Who?
It was me. Yes, I definitely did not trust men, period. And I definitely did not trust my husband, unfortunately, because I needed to heal from my past, my childhood, my upbringing, and even like a few relationships that I had. I didn't have many. But yeah, I had some significant trust issues to the point where when we would go out to restaurants or out wherever together, if his head and eyes were not, and I saw him looking this way to tie his shoe, I saw you looking at her. Dude, I'm tying my shoe. Are you really? Like it was bad, y'all. It was bad in the beginning. And it was like a heavy weight that I wore all the time. When you don't trust other people, you're weighed down by it. It's fear. It's fear-based thinking. And when you don't have trust, you're weighed down by it. Your energy, your internal dialogue is constant. It's like an app that never shuts off, and you're constantly running scenarios through your head. It is so draining. And unless you've lived it, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's like if you watch a movie and you see like people being tortured, like if you would just know what's inside the mind of a person that doesn't trust or has significant trust issues, again, it's like that app that never shuts off. It is so draining. And then you start to do things where you're almost self-sabotaging those things that you're saying, oh, your worst fear, you start to almost have like self-fulfilling prophecies because you start to act these behaviors out. So I would say if you have trust issues, the first thing you probably want to do is really communicate that with your spouse. Let them know that, hey, I am struggling over here with trust. It may have nothing to do with something that they have done or not done. This may be stuff that you brought into the marriage. But you have to talk about it and you have to say, look, I'm struggling with trust. I know I need to work on trust, and I know our relationship absolutely needs to thrive off of it. But right now, I'm stuck. You may need some assistance getting through it. You may need coaching, counseling, prayer, deliverance, whatever you want to call it. You may need all of the above.
Therapy, all of it.
Yeah, all of it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to own it. You have to admit it.
Yeah, trust is something that once it's broken, it's really hard to get it back. And what the mistake a lot of people will make is that they'll bring past issues into the present. Sometimes not even with the same partner.
Yes.
A lot of times, what I've noticed a lot of times talking to people is that you'll have whatever that last person did, you got to pay for in the present. I think that's a good place to stop. There is 10 things that can sabotage your marriage, guys. Pay close attention to them and understand that they can happen to any of us. Any of these things can creep up on you, and it could be one that could take you out just that quickly. So with that, that's enough said.
Said.